Good morning.
How are you?
Good morning.
I'm great. How are you?
You got a quarterback for Sunday?
We got three.
Should we see Nick starting?
Nick Foles is starting. Are we good? Okay. All right, thanks.
Nick always talks about being a rhythm quarterback. What can you do as a coach to get him into that rhythm as quickly as possible?
I think a couple things. One, we could hurry up tempo. I think it's a good way to get the quarterback in a rhythm. And then early in games, find plays that are completion type plays. You know, that are kind of the no-brainer. You don't have to think a lot. You're not necessarily into the heat of the battle yet. And you always have those types of plays in your game plan that are just balls out, whether it's a quick throw or a quick play action or something of that nature that becomes a quick little completion play for the quarterback and help him settle in and get into the game.
Doug, in training camp, there was a lot of time where Nick and Carson obviously split reps. Looking back, do you think that hurt Nick a little bit, not having the full complement of reps?
I don't know. I think if anything, it might affect timing a little bit, with guys. But, again, you're talking about two veteran players. I thought Nick had a really good week of practice last week leading into the game. You got to give credit to Atlanta, defensively. I mean, they came out and battled. It's a good defense we played last week, and so it's a little both. But, Nick gets better each week, and the more reps he gets, just continues to get better.
So what went into the decision to name Nick the starter for this week?
Have you heard Carson cleared yet?
No.
Okay, there you go.
How is Carson coming along?
Great. Yeah, great.
Is he taking scout team reps?
He is.
And then
Because that's 11-on-11 drills, so yeah, he's doing that.
And then there was a report about his GPS tracking.
We do that every day.
Yeah, the report was from ESPN, from Chris Mortensen, and he said that he got it from team sources that his GPS tracking was trending in the correct direction. Is that giving you guys a better read on when you think he'll be back?
I got to figure out who that source is.
Yeah.
I wonder. Do you know who it is?
Team source, that's all I know.
Team source? I got to figure out who that is.
Team sources.
Team source is. Could be a problem. Is there a question there?
Yes, it said that the GPS was saying that he was trending in a positive direction. Is that
That's correct.
what you guys are
Yeah.
getting? And
That's what we've seen really since he came back into 11-on-11. As training camp progressed, that's his strength, lower body strength, his upper body strength, all trending in the right direction.
So Doug, we cleared Carson, hasn't been cleared for contact, and is the plan still when he is cleared for contact, will it be a week of practice before you throw him into a game?
He has not been cleared, and I'm focusing on today.
Doug, you brought in Marcus Wheaton. He played a few snaps against the Falcons. Now you brought in Kamar. Just talk about you signed some guys to the practice squad and you looked at some guys. Just talk about the wide receiver position right now, where you are, what you're looking for, and specifically why Kamar in and Marcus out.
Well, last week, Marcus Allen?
Marcus out.
Marcus out. Oh, they said Marcus Allen.
You want to sign
Marcus Allen. Last week, obviously, Marcus was a good fit for us. Give us depth at the position. And listen, our personnel department, they do a great job of each week bringing in guys, whether they're practice squad candidates or potential 53-man roster, candidates to always constantly, I don't want to say upgrade, but provide more depth maybe at a position. And so this week, it was Kamar. Kamar gives us depth. He gives us experience. He gives us some special teams availability, and it's a good fit. And then some of the other young players that we do work out, if they can transition onto practice squad, it gives us the ability as a coaching staff to work with a new face and really see what these guys can do and really on a limited, maybe a practice squad basis.
Is Alshon practicing today or this week?
Alshon's going to be back on the field, and he'll be working individual group install stuff, but again, no 11-on-11.
Doug, Nick was limited in the preseason, and you didn't have Alshon and Mack a lot and things like that, and you didn't have a lot of those players out on offense. Having a full game in that week one against Atlanta, do you think it'll be easier for Nick and the offense to kind of get more of a rhythm, having some more time having played together?
I don't like to use the term easier because this is a National Football League and every team opponent is tough. I do feel like he gets a little more comfortable with the offense and with the guys he's working with, and these guys are The guys you mentioned are back healthy and they're on the field, and they're working out some timing, and he's into week 2 and he's getting all the reps, and so I think there's something to say about that. Much like last season at the end of the year, the more he played and practiced with the guys, the more comfortable he got. So I think we're trending obviously in that direction.
Doug, you said last week that you didn't have any concern about the guys who were limited or didn't play a lot in the preseason, and that seemed to come to fruition. Did that group of players play even better than you thought they might?
I thought as the game progressed, they did. Obviously Nelson had a pretty good game receiving from the standpoint because he missed some time there in training camp. Second half rushing with Jay, I thought was pretty good. He kind of got on track and caught his strength in his legs. Jason Peters the same way. Sproles kind of the same way. So I think now the more that these guys play week in and week out, they just continue to get stronger and try to help this football team.
When you looked at
with communicating in the headset with the quarterbacks, what's your philosophy up to that 15-second mark about how much to give them, not to overload them, that kind of thing?
I try not to overload them. Try to just give them the basics, the formation to play. Sometimes in a situation, situational ball, I might throw out something schematically that we've talked about to be aware of, whether it's pressure or be aware of the 3 technique or a safety or whatever, maybe a coverage note or something like that. But I try to stay away from that to not, because what ends up happening, that's the last thing they hear, so that's sometimes what they try to see, and it's not there. So I want them to just play the game.
Is that different with Nick and Carson? Do they like things differently?
They do. I mean, they're both different. But I would say that both of them do. They agree that they don't want a ton of information, but at certain times they're okay with it. But they are different, and I have to be aware of that.
Doug, the last 4 games that you've played where the results count are as emotional as football gets. I mean, you're talking playoff games, a Super Bowl, and a season opener in front of national TV. Any change or sense of anything different from the energy of the guys this week? And do you have any concern about their focus just back to your regular 1 o'clock?
No. In fact, we're kind of glad we're back into a normal schedule, normal work week. And that's just our focus. We try to be 1-0 this week, and that's all we worry about. And last week is over with, and we're on to Tampa Bay and against a good opponent. They scored 48 points. So they high-powered offense that we got to stop, and then defensively, it's another set of challenges for us. So we're just focused on today, getting better today, and just 1 week at a time.
When you look at Tampa Bay's receivers, I mean, like you mentioned, they put up 48 points. Like, do they have like an ideal complement of guys, like a guy who can get deep like DeSean, possession guy like Chris Godwin, and Michael Evans, obviously in the tight ends? I mean, how difficult is it?
I think it's very similar to last week. Atlanta had 3 big-time receivers. Tampa has the same complement of guys. You got speed guy, you got a size guy, you got that shifty guy. I mean, it's the tight end. I mean, it's but that's what we expect every week. Every team's going to be talented, both offensively, defensively, and again, that's why we just attack each day, as it comes. Get better today, work the game plan today, and just again try to be 1-0 at the end of the week.
What kind of problems does Gerald McCoy pose on that defensive line for you guys?
Well, he's big, he's physical, athletic, definitely push the pocket. He's a great pass rusher, and quite honestly, just he can wreak havoc, and so we got to make sure we take care of him. We also, JPP's there. He's a tremendous end. We've obviously know who he is from playing against him, when he was with the Giants, and then having 2 of our former players there. So I think we kind of understand this D line a little bit. They're athletic. They're speed rushers. Good challenge for our offensive line again.
Don, how much of a
6
focus?
years ago, in Andy's final year, Nick went in there and had one of his best games ever. He ran 15 yards for a touchdown. He won the game on the final play of the game with a pass to Jeremy Maclin. Does something like that, when a quarterback goes into a stadium that he doesn't see that often, even if he goes back in his history, does that put him in a positive frame of mind? Any effect?
I think it can, because obviously you remember your last whether it's your last game or last performance in a stadium, as you mentioned. I think having success there, can give you positive vibes. I think going back down there for Nick, and I was obviously I was in the booth at the time, and just a tremendous win. He was a rookie there, and came and led us back to that win. So, yeah, I think that can be a positive for him. Going back down there.
What did you see from Mike Wallace when you rewatched the tape? What did you see from Mike Wallace? And you concerned at all that in preseason and now in first week season he hasn't had a ton of catches?
No, because last week, we get into game plan specific things, and Atlanta's defense, we had some shots in there for Mike, and give credit again. We got the coverage, they just defended it. So, we had to go somewhere else with the football. So each week's a little bit different. We try to get Mike involved. We try to get our tight ends involved, obviously Nelson. So, it's my job to make sure I call the plays that go to specific players, throughout the game, and make sure we're spreading the ball around. And Mike's such a team player too that doesn't bother him. He comes to work again today and prepares for this game like he did last week.
Your experience this week in Tampa on hydration, and when does it begin, and kind of go into detail with the message that you're giving to the players?
The hydration issue, because it's going to be low 90s, I believe, on Sunday and really the whole week down there. But for me, it started on Monday, when the players were in here to continue to hydrate. Don't let this weather pattern up here fool us where it's cooler, it's rainy, because it's not going to be that way. It's going to be hot, it's going to be humid. After quick game, we got to get up and get ready to play, Sunday, which we haven't had, for quite some time. But the message started actually on Monday when the players were in here for a workout.
How much of a
as you study DeSean Jackson, and how far will you go back in looking at what he's done? Assuming he can play, I mean, he's obviously still a really dangerous deep threat even at his age.
Well, I think obviously you got to see his body work with Tampa. You can go back to Washington a little bit, and then, we used him, here probably differently than most teams because of the speed. But he's a tremendous athlete, obviously a speed guy. You saw it last weekend against the Saints. How he was able to get behind, their safeties in that secondary, and you got to definitely give him a lot of respect. He's one of those guys that he's crafty, he's nifty, he knows how to set up defenders, and those are things that he's been able to use to his advantage, even though not necessarily a big guy, but can definitely stretch the field, and that's and then having a quarterback like Fitzpatrick, who we saw the other day how he has the ability to shoot the ball down the field, makes it dangerous. But yeah, we'll look at his body work here, a little bit in Washington, obviously Tampa Bay, and our defense will be ready to go.
All right, thank you guys.
Oh, that was it. Thanks.